The Browns made 7 draft picks over the weekend.
Okay.
Of those 7, which rookie has the biggest year 1 impact?
Yesterday. So I'm gonna toss this because I kind of threw this out there earlier. I said it's a 3rd round, 4th round, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. I mean, how bad you gonna get if you don't, these guys aren't really starting for you or have big impacts. I'll start with you, Brad.
Mikey, pull up your list.
When we look at these impact guys, as far as Siaki, you got you got the receiver Tillman.
Cedric Tillman.
You got Mitchell.
These are their first
Jones.
4 picks. If you'll need a little.
So we can
reminders.
stop right. We can stop right there. You ain't gotta give me the list, right?
Oh, you ain't even go past these ones.
I don't have to.
All right, go ahead.
Why should I? So here, let's get to the meat and potatoes here, right? So you got all your money on your man behind the center, right?
Yep, Watson.
So job number 1 is to make sure that he doesn't go down in the dirt. I have this shirt on for a reason, right? So that tells you, bring up your list, Mikey. That should tell you exactly what I'm thinking.
So you going to tell me.
Jones on the offensive line to
Oh.
ensure your boy Watson don't go down in the dirt.
Oh. Now hold on.
This is where I'm going, right? I'm loyal to the team.
It's a biased pick, man.
Yeah, loyal to the team. You look up, we everywhere, right?
Except on the offensive line.
Right.
Because he ain't starting.
Listen. Okay. you ain't see your boy CJ going down in the dirt.
now you got. So here's the thing.
Now they
Hey,
just
you
they
know,
just
they picked your boy up.
They just 5th year somebody out,
Yeah,
and I did like this. We're 5th yearing that.
Yep, they definitely got him 5th yeared up.
I said, why would we do that?
Well, listen,
no one can answer.
Well, look, I think the thought process was, all right, if he turns out to be better this year, we got something. If he don't turn out to be better, we still got him for a decent enough price, and we still got injury-prone dudes on the right side.
Let me tell you, big time sports at the top level is all about this. How you trending? So he not trending well, right? I'm not one. You don't have to tell me 100 times. You don't have to show me 100 different equations. Either you are or you aren't, right? He didn't have an ample enough opportunity, right? At some point, I'm from the old school. We break it off for you.
Well, let me ask you this, Boogie, because we haven't really delved into Cedric Wills. You play defensive line. If you see the scout report and you see a lineman you go against, offensive lineman, and they say on the scout report does not finish his blocks, what do you think when you're going up against a guy like that? And you see maybe somebody can get a move on him and he stops in the middle of the play. What's your thought process on film?
My first thought process is he don't have that dog in him. Because especially at that position, the offensive line, you definitely are taught to finish every block. You may miss a block, but if you finish, that can help you recover. So if I see an offensive lineman, he quitting, he giving up, because my first move might not work as a defensive lineman, but I know if I can outwork him, I have a better chance of getting a sack. So I look at it like that's barbecue chicken. Barbecue chicken. I see a guy that's going to give up and be lazy during the snap and not give 100% effort every time and is inconsistent. That's how I look at it. Oh, it's barbecue chicken. I'm finna eat.
Now, Jason, you've been on record. You talked about it before, and you talked to Stefanski. You talked to Barry. They like the progression of one Cedric Wills. What are your thoughts on them extending him in the pick of DeJuan Jones? What does that mean?
I think it's a supply and demand issue, really, at the position. We said yesterday, thought Jack Conklin was going to retire, and then they gave him an extension. It was like, what? So that's more worrisome than Wills. I think Wills, we talked about it yesterday. Wills' good plays are fine. His bad plays are awful. And his bad plays are the easy ones to pick out because he just stops. He just stops. And you can't have that, especially as a left tackle. So I don't think Jed Wills is going anywhere. I think he's going to be in Cleveland for a long time. And it's where are you going to find something better? And maybe DeJuan Jones becomes something better, but I think that's the Jack Conklin replacement on the right side. I don't think that's for Jed on the left side. It is what it is. You've got him this year and next year, and really I think beyond that, he's not elite by any means. He's certainly not Hall of Fame level, which is what you're used to with Joe Thomas. He's a step down from that. But there are worse out there than him, and I think he is what he is. He's a average, standard left tackle, and you run the risk of not being able to replace that. Where else are you going to go? Where else are you going to find a left tackle?
Here's the problem in this town, right? You don't call spades a spade, right? If something show you that it's not it, it's just believe it. It's not, right? And it's okay.
I don't
right?
think he's great.
So here's the story. When you tell me, you basically telling me we got to live with it. I don't have to live with nothing, right? I saw the work, right? You got a chance. Now this is for pros. They gave you a shot. Either you did or you didn't.
So where are you going to find it? Where are you going to find another left tackle?
I'm gonna go with another direction. I'm not gonna keep running to the same brick wall. I'm not, right? I'm just not, right? This here, you got $230 million invested in a dude here,
Yep.
right? Right? You have a piece here that is very questionable at best.
He's average. I think he's
Questionable
very
at
average.
best.
He's average.
Right? Mm-hmm. So we go in the market with this?
I'll say this. I think it.
Or are you telling Deshaun Wayne there, watch your side on the side?
I think there's what I love about all these draft picks is now you got an opportunity to have somebody behind you looking both ways. See, I like people looking behind themselves. I like competition.
So do I.
Absolutely.
I like
Absolutely.
to have people in the room, and what I like to do is I like to mix it up a little bit. I'm like, hey, so and so, hey, give me some reps at guard real quick. Let me see what you got right there. Real quick.
Brad Sellers, Scottie Pippen. Brad Sellers. I'm looking back.
Hey, Scotty.
He coming again?
Hey,
He coming again?
and they'd be like, hey, Scotty, let me see if you can run point too. You run point? What? You got this dude running point? Now B.J. Armstrong looking around. What? They got Scotty doing everything out here, bro. This is unacceptable. Yeah, that's the way it works.
That's the way it works. That keeps everybody on. That keep everybody
on their
honest,
toes.
right? Keep everybody honest, right? Because in this game, Boogie knows in this game, you can cloud yourself to thinking you actually getting it done when you're not getting it done. Because your mama called you and told you, son, you did great.
Or there ain't nobody threatening you behind you. But that's the signs of a great organization and a good team is when one guy goes down or there's not a huge drop-off. The sink doesn't shit because one guy goes down. So hopefully he can provide depth because I don't see him starting this year. But he wasn't even my pick. I was going to ride with the big boys. I was going to go with Siaki.
Ika. See, big fellas think alike.
Yeah,
I was right on
Ika.
that same page with you, dog. That was it.
Because in my thought process at first, I'm like, this is a 4-3 scheme. He's a two-gap and nose guard. Where are they going to play him? But when you look at the numbers, their run defense was terrible last year.
Awful.
It was awful. So my thought process is the guys upstairs are like, even though he might not be the perfect fit, we need somebody that's going to stop the run. So we'll build around him. So I feel like he's going to be the best rookie. He's going to make the biggest impact because you got to win on first downs. If you want Myles Garrett to eat and get you double-digit sacks, you have to put him in the opportunity to do so, which is get teams in third and longs, second and longs, but you have to win on first downs. As a pass rusher, we talk about you have to earn the right to pass rush. And by doing so, you got to stop the run. And my big fella right here, Ika, he's going to do that. I'm excited to see him play.
Yeah, this is my pick too. And this is an easy one because I look at the roster and I say, okay, which guys is more likely to get on the field? It's always difficult as an offensive lineman unless there's an injury or you out and out just outplay a guy head and shoulders above, right? If you're a receiver, you're more situational, especially when you got tacticians like Amari Cooper. You got DPJ who's been in the system a lot, Elijah Moore. There's a lot of people ahead of you. You got to learn the system and you got to make more plays than somebody. But when you talk about the defensive front and when you look at the defensive line and what they were able to do, well, I would say not able to do, which is stop the run. We ran. It was the greatest hits last year. One of the biggest hot takes in the world was the Atlanta Falcons running 14 straight run plays with guys from the parking lot getting 12 a pop. And I'm like, these is they just reset it. It was like, man, they can't stop it and fatigue is on. Guys was holding their shoulders. This guy, Boogie, they're not going to be able to move him up out of there with no one guy. He's not going to be flying out of there on down blocks. He's not going to get washed.
Not on duty. Not on duty.
That is not going to happen. And you can tell him how important is it to have somebody that can anchor and hunker down when they is trying to double team you and move to the next level, because that's what they're trying to do. They're really trying to move the nose to the second level and then spill off and hit one of the linebackers. How important is it to have a guy to keep the linebacker clean?
It's very important. the front end and back end works together. If you can keep your linebackers clean and allow them to read and just run free and make plays, your run defense would be improved dramatically very quickly. So I feel like by them taking him, he's going to take up doubles. There should be nobody in the league, I don't care, all pro, to be able to single block this dude based on how I've seen him play. So I feel like he's going to be able to help them. He's going to penetrate. He's going to have to get better at pass rushing because he didn't have many sacks. He didn't have any sacks last year and for the year before. So the talent is there. Just hope this D-line coach can unlock it. But for now, they're bringing him in strictly to stop the run because that defense is terrible. We'll worry about pass later. We draft you third round, come stop the run. Linebackers be able to roam free, and then we'll be able to see Myles Garrett get after it. Those DBs do their thing, and you'll see the front end and back end working together. And hopefully in 23 we'll see an improved Cleveland Browns defense.
So, Boogie, let me ask you a question because the Quill is on here with us, right? And he thinks JOK is washed. He thinks it's a waste of effort here. Right?
True.
So do you think that with the addition of Siaki here on the front line, that unlocks JOK's ability? Because, see, the Quill doesn't think that he has the skill set, the natural skill set to be a linebacker.
Okay.
Right.
The instincts to read and direct. And it feels
And
like
the size.
In the size. If somebody touch him, it's done. It's like freeze tag. If he get touched, he's out of the play. Do you think a undersized linebacker who may have a little bit of issue with reading his keys is helped by a very strong defensive line?
Absolutely, because now this gives him a couple more seconds to read his keys. Because probably last year, the O-lineman down set go, offensive lineman probably in his face already, or the D-line getting pushed back to him. Now this will give him more time to be able to read and dissect what's going on, and hopefully, instinctually, he's able to make more plays. If he doesn't get it done this year with this guy in front of him, then all hope is lost. But let's give him one more year to play behind a more stout defensive line and see what he can do before we just give up on the guy.
We said yesterday the linebacker position has been devalued. Like, I think that's pretty obvious.
Obviously, just like running back, I would say.
Yes, we said that. It's the running back of the offense. Has the role of the linebacker changed in the last 4 or 5 years, or just the amount of them on the field in the, you know what I mean? Like, to me, there's a difference in how many you're playing and what you're asking them to do.
Absolutely, because it's a pass-happy league now. You know what I'm saying? So linebackers aren't as important as back in the early 2000s when it was a run-heavy league. You get what I'm saying? So you don't really – now you try to get as much coverage people on the field as possible. You try to sneak in an extra coverage guy, and we can take out a linebacker and bring in an extra coverage guy. So that drops the value of a linebacker, unless you have a guy like Fred Warner, who's an amazing linebacker who can also cover and fill gaps and things like that. But those guys are a dime a dozen. It's tough to find those guys. So unless you can find you a very good coverage linebacker, the value of them are very low right now.
Yeah.
I think it's a trickle down there as you go to safety too. Like back in the day, you used to have a box safety and a high safety. And that box safety was more like a linebacker than anything. Your Brian Dawkins of the world.
Ooh.
You even look at John Lynch. And heck, Mike Doss was a box safety.
You can't hit like you used to back then. You blow your breath on somebody, it's a
It's
flag.
a flag, right.
So you have bad breath, and it's a flag. You know, you touch somebody, it's a flag. So
Halitosis taking people down.
I feel like that position has been devalued just by the rules, you know, and it's unfair because safety, you know, they see everything. They're the backbone of the defense. They have to. I feel like every other position can make a mistake. D lineman can get out of a gap one play. A linebacker can miss a tackle. But a safety?
Yeah.
A safety got to defend every blade of grass. He cannot miss a tackle at all.
For me, I'm waiting to see when it happens, but I'm waiting to see which team says, you know what, we're not even starting safeties no more. We're going to corners. So I'm going to play 4 corners in the back. And when linebackers, now my old linebackers that we used to traditionally have linebackers, them are safeties now. So I want my safeties playing linebacker. And then corners, your elite corners will be up front. So what I want, though, is even at the linebacker positions, I want safeties that still can cover, that still can run. Because what they bank on you doing is, especially teams like you got George Kittle, and especially with the Kansas City Chiefs, they say, all right, well, look, keep throwing that linebacker out there, and Travis Kelce keep killing people because you can't cover him with no linebacker. So, I would have to force them to do that. Even when you look at defensive ends, the defensive ends are now they're more of what we would traditionally call stand-up outside linebackers. Those guys are now getting upfield, and they don't really worry about the run too much. They just say, hey, listen, you rerun on the way to the quarterback. So everything is getting downsized a little bit, going to more speed, more packaging, and things like that. But there are a couple of downs where you take the time machine and go back to the 2000. That's first down. Because first down is a rundown. It is definitely guaranteed a rundown. So you see bigger guys like this be able to get on the field and be able to contribute at a high level because it is more of a rundown. Does anybody else have anybody else that you think is the biggest?
Well, I think we have to start with the fact that we're starting in the third round here. So this isn't a normal, first round. These guys fell to where they fell for a reason. I think Tillman can make an immediate impact, but I kind of agree. I think Siaki Ika could be the long-term play in terms of this class. But Tillman fills a specific need early, and the size, just the prototypical 6'3" size, and the fact that, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but when Deshaun breaks the pocket, when he's scrambling, when he's trying to freelance and make something happen, there's going to be times where you just need a jump ball. You need a guy who can go up and get the ball. And I think Tillman can fill that role. It could be hard for him to get on the field early in 1st and 10 situations, but I think red zone, he absolutely is a target. Is just a guy who can just go up and high point the ball. And what a luxury that is that they didn't really have last year. We talked about DPJ struggling with that at times last year. And to have a guy who's comfortable with that, who has the size, who can just out-jump guys in the back end. You now have two guys, really, Njoku and Tillman, who should be able to out-jump the coverage and go up and get the ball. So I do think Tillman could have a role in this, but I just wonder how much over the length of 17 games, how expanded that role will be, barring injuries, where Ika, we've talked about just being able to roll guys in. They haven't had that. Just the competition, they haven't had that. The competition at defensive tackle, the competition at receiver going into camp this year. Hopefully it's, the best guys play. And Ika, I think, will have plenty of opportunities to get on the field. And I can't remember the last time that they had someone in this size. Just the mass of him and being able to move him. He's certainly bigger than anything that they've had the last couple of years.
Another point on the Tillman thing, I feel like if you want to get the true return on your investment with Deshaun Watson, you have to bank on cheap picks in late rounds because they don't have any money to go pay anybody else, right? So if you want to get a true return on your investment, you have to hope Tillman can come in and make plays and be a true number 2, or hopefully at best a number 2 right now, because if he's a true number 2, that'll help Amari Cooper out. You can get a return on your investment there. So I feel like that's what they're banking on. Hopefully he can come in, be that stretch guy, that jump ball guy, make plays so you can open up everything underneath for Amari Cooper, give Deshaun Watson 2 weapons on the outside with Njoku in the middle, and everything is smooth sailing, especially with that running game. So that's my thought process on why they took Tillman with their first pick, trying to get a cheap weapon because you have no money, no draft capital to go and find anybody else. So
they have not had a good record on third-round receivers, but hopefully Tillman changes that. What do you got, Mikey?
Yeah, I'm glad you guys brought up Tillman because I had a point to make on Tillman if no one else did. And this point is so good, it's brought to us by Lorraine Community College. Your classes, your future. Register now for summer and fall classes. You can learn more at lorraineccc.edu to learn more. Steve mixing up the camera shots. I appreciate it, Boogie.
Boogie said, I ain't going back to school.
Look at that.
Hey, I did 8 years. I ain't going back. I did 8 years. I'm not opening up another book. I'm done.
My one point on Tillman, and this is something I think we're not overlooking, but we're going to have to see how it plays out, is Deshaun Watson still developing chemistry with all his receivers? I know he was here last year. He's worked with Cooper. He worked with DPJ, Elijah Moore they brought in, Marquise Goodwin. David Bell's been in the mix. I don't think he has a dynamite connection with anyone in particular yet. And if he develops it with Tillman right off the bat, some guys just kind of have that inherent connection. You see in basketball. Sometimes a big and a guard, they read off each other. They play the pick and roll perfectly. You see a new quarterback come in. He has a safety blanket. Tillman's a guy with the size and athletic ability to potentially, and I'm not saying he will be, but potentially kind of become a safety blanket early on if him and Watson can click. So while he continues to develop his connections with Moore, DPJ, Cooper, all those guys, it wouldn't shock me to see Tillman come in if he has that immediate connection, get in the lineup, break that 2-3 deep receiver set earlier than expected. And as Jason alluded and what Boogie said, he's got the athletic ability to make contested catches in the red zone, which is something they lacked last season.
See, McNugget, she done stole all my stuff. Yeah, I feel like you jumped in my phone and I was saving that. I was saving it in my head like if Jay was over here with that board. I was like, yeah, nobody ain't said this yet. This is gonna hit different. And then here you go walking out here stealing my stuff. But I'll give you an analogy though. Hey, y'all ever been new in school, right? You know what I'm saying? Been new, or you go to another grade. So you know you don't be in the same class with everybody, right? It'd be like and you from LA, so I feel like y'all get new people every week.
All the people coming in,
People just coming and going.
Gotcha. Yep.
Right? So you see that new girl over there, you like, hold on. Every year it's a different game plan, right? She might not even have seen you right now. And for some reason, some people just like you. You like, listen, I'm the new dude. Listen, some gonna hate me. A lot of these dudes gonna be hating, but one of these, two of these fly girls gonna like me. I just gotta keep myself prepared. I gotta keep my cologne on. I gotta keep my Tommy Hilfiger on. That's what we were back in the day. The Techno ring, the FUBU. I had all the FUBUs with all the joints, the bright FUBU. Yeah, people don't remember that. And then when Polo came out, I said, y'all ain't even got no Polo. This is true Polo, not the swap meet Polo. This is not Polo Assassin. This is legit Polo. And so you know what? People might like you. You like, man, this joint like me right here. I'm in here. But you got to be fresh. It's the same way in football. Deshaun Watson really ain't chose nobody yet. All these quarterbacks, there's always, all these top elite quarterbacks, how often have we seen it where you get this top flight quarterback and all of a sudden they say, Aaron Rodgers likes this guy in camp. Tom Brady really likes this guy. He's been he was with the threes. Now he with the 2.5s. Like he getting some reps on the nickel pack. He's gonna develop a chemistry with one of these receivers, and they're gonna get elevated. It's gonna be Donovan Peoples-Jones, could be him, could be Elijah Moore, it could be Amari Cooper. Heck, it could even be Cedric Tillman. Because when you got a big body, when you got a different skill set than other people, and you new, and you young, all he got to do is make a couple plays, right? Because he didn't see Donovan Peoples-Jones for 6-7 weeks. This a new guy. He might like him, bring him in, and he might be a sleeper, especially if he catches a few red zone targets, it's going up and high point the ball. So you could be a new dude and get it off. You can give me a new dude and get that off. And all of a sudden, we look at Cedric Tillman a little different because it all depends on how many targets you're going to get. Because it take a little bit of faith to throw the ball to somebody who covered. Because all of them look covered. He just got to throw it in there. That was so cold. Didn't nobody even have nothing to say. They just shut up.
I'm speechless.
I'm stymied over
He
here.
he got me reminiscing about my days at school. All them shots I was taking it off.
We just looking for somebody to make a play. How about that? Do that, right? Let's start there, right? We're gonna get this boy a whole training camp, right? Whole OTAs, training camp. Give him every tool he needs to be effective, right? Because we need him effective under that center. We do.
I'll tell you what, this brings me to a nice little segue, right? There is, when you talk about these positions and who's going to make the most impact, there's a couple of position groups, man, that is packed. We're going to get to this happy face, sad face situation